Hello everyone, welcome to JV Reddy Automation World. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go and subscribe to it, enable notification for more interesting videos. Right, today I came up with Infosys interview questions and answers that are recently asked in the interviews. Right, I gathered all these questions from my students who are attended recently. Right, I have combined all the questions and I am explaining here with question and detailed explanation. Right. Here we have in Infosys, we will have two technical rounds, one manager, one HR. Right. There are different sections we will cover here. Right. Selenium, Java, TestNG. Right. What are the questions asked on framework? CI/CD, DevOps, SQL, manual, API testing, manager round, and behavioral, and tips and right. How to prepare. Right. Some tips will be provide. Right. Here, coming to Selenium questions. We'll start with the Selenium interview questions. All right. The first question: how do you handle dynamic web elements using XPath? Right. We know. Right. What are the dynamic web elements? Right. Right. Dynamic web elements means right that will frequently change. Right. Suppose if you take any ID, maybe starting position is changing, end position may be constant. Sometimes end position may be changing, starting position will be constant. Right. Sometimes yeah, start and end position will change. Middle position is common. That means some part of the locator will be common, but the remaining will be changing. Right. That means dynamically whenever we will reload the page, right, it will frequently changes. Such type of elements are how to handle it. Right. There are in right in the XPath by using XPath we can handle it. There are different ways of handling it. Right. We can use the contains starts with there are different functions in the XPath contains starts with that we can use right those things. Right, mostly contains we will use starts with our text. Sometimes we can use contains text. Right, these methods we can use. Or in CSS also we will have a starts with ends with right contains also. In CSS also we have. We can either we can. But here question is how do you handle using XPath? So we can use the contains right starts with our text contains text starts with our attributes contain attribute starts with. Right, these are the some of the examples. Right, we here tip is avoid the absolute XPath. Right, don't we should almost 100% we will not use the absolute XPath. Very rare cases. Right, because if you use the absolute XPath, there are more chances to break the right test cases. There are more chances to fail the test case. So we always prefer to use the dynamic XPath only. Right. Now coming to next question, move on to what is the difference between implicit and explicit wait? Right. Right. Implicit wait, right? It will apply, right? Implicit wait we will apply on the driver object. So it is globally applicable. That means driver means whenever we will create the driver, it will that wait implicit wait will still live until the driver closes. So it is like a global. That means all elements it will be applicable. Explicit wait means it is a specific elements. Right. If you want to apply on any specific elements, we will go for explicit wait. How do you what is the syntax of implicit wait? How do you create it? Right, driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicit wait. We have to give the duration of seconds. How many seconds we want implicit wait. And explicit wait, we can use the WebDriver wait. We will use the WebDriver wait class. Right, we'll see syntaxes of following. Right, frequency of check keeps polling until the timeout. Right, it will it will waits for the explicit wait waits for a specific condition. Right, explicit wait means what we will use a specific condition visibility of right element to be clickable text to be present alert to be present right specific condition explicit wait means. But implicit wait keeps on polling whether element is available or not until the max time whatever we have given. Flexibility less flexible, and explicit wait is highly flexible. Exception handling handled automatically requires expected conditions. Right, what is the syntax? The implicit wait driver dot manage the timeouts. Implicitly wait. We have to give the this is the Selenium 3 syntax. Actually, in the Selenium 4, directly we can use the duration of seconds. This is the Selenium 3 syntax. Explicit wait. We can create a WebDriver wait class object. We have to pass the driver and then what is the wait time? What is the maximum time? This is the maximum time. Right, if you want to use it, suppose wait until what is the condition, expected condition, visibility of element. Suppose if you want to wait for visibility of element, right, we have to provide the locator. Right, what is the difference between Selenium 3 and 4? Right, sometimes we may get this question also. Right, Selenium 3 partially supports the W3C web. Right, mostly Selenium 3 JSON wire protocol. Right, but Selenium 4 is fully W3C compliance. Fully W3C compliance. Selenium 3 supports both the JSON wire protocol and partial W3C. Relative locators not available, and Selenium 4 supports relative locators. Right. If we have idea above by using the right one element, we can find above element, below amount, left element, right element, right near element, right relative locators in Selenium 4. Dev tool support. Selenium 3 not supports. Selenium 4 will support Chrome DevTools and grid architecture, hub and node in Selenium 3. In Selenium 4 improved. They have improved a lot on the Selenium grid part, and it will also support Docker support and deprecated methods. Right, there are some of the deprecated methods. Some of them are deprecated, and then Selenium 4 many removed or updated. Right, a driver installation needs a system.set property, right? In Selenium 3, either we require a system.set property or we have to use the third-party library WebDriver manager, right? But in Selenium 4, we don't require. Right, in starting version of Selenium 4, we will use the WebDriver. After say, right, recent versions of Selenium 4, we don't require to use WebDriver manager because Selenium implicit has a Selenium manager. It will support. So we don't require any system.property or WebDriver manager. It will automatically create the download the latest driver and create the driver instance. Right, right. Suppose some example of relative locator, how to use it. Right. Suppose this is the element. Suppose if you want to find the element below of it, above of it, left of it, right of it. Right. This is the current element. Based on this element, I have to find the either above, below, left, right. Then how to use drive dot find element relative locator. We have to. This is the important point. Relative locator with by dot tag name input below this label. Right. Below the label this web element. Find the input element below this label element. Right. It will find out immediate input element of the label below. If you want above, left means left, right means right. And near also we can use near. Right. These are the different difference between Selenium 3 and 4 we can tell. And what is the use of JavaScript executor in Selenium WebDriver? Right. Next question. Right. Sometimes, right, JavaScript executor is used. It is a interface. We know that JavaScript executor is a interface. Right. Interface object means how you will create by using the implementation classes. Right. Here, WebDriver sometimes cannot directly interact with the elements, such as hidden fields. Suppose if I want to interact with the hidden fields, or if I want to scroll up and down, or if I want to do DOM manipulation, right? If I want to update the DOM, right? Directly right? WebDriver cannot support these things. It will do it by JavaScript executor. How to create the JavaScript executor object? We have to typecast our driver instance to JavaScript executor. Right. By typecasting driver to JavaScript executor, then we can create the object of the JavaScript executor. Right. What are the common usages? Right. Common usages. Suppose if you want to sometimes write normal click, web element dot click will not work. Sometimes we will get some issues. Such cases we will use JavaScript dot execute script arguments of 0 dot click and pass the element, which element we want to click. Sometimes I want to scroll to the element. Maybe sometimes what will happen web page, some web elements are down the page, right? I have to scroll it, then only it will be visible. Suppose if you want to scroll to that element, right? Arguments of 0 scroll into view, true. We have to pass which element, right? Up to which element we want to scroll, we have to give that element. Right. If you want to set the value in the text box. All right. Sometimes hidden text boxes will be there. If you want to set the value in the hidden text boxes, right? We can also use this command document dot get element by ID and then what is the ID of it and then dot value. What is the value we want to update admin? Right. By using JavaScript JS dot execute script. This is the command document dot get element by ID. Right, we can pass the ID of the element, then dot value. We can set like this. If you have any requirement, we can. If you want to get the title of the page, right? If you want to get the title of the page, we can also get it. Right, like this. These are some of the common use cases. There are a lot of things we can do with the JavaScript executor. Right, and coming to these are some of the Selenium questions. And coming to Java questions, so we will have a theoretical questions and programmatic questions. First, we will see with the theoretical questions. Okay, we will start with the theoretical questions. What is the difference between an abstract class and an interface? Right, this is the right a common question they will ask. Right, just will move it down. What is the difference between abstract and interface? Right, for both we cannot directly create the for both right, these are all what is abstraction. What is the difference between right, abstract class and interface? We will use mostly in abstraction concept. Abstraction means what? Hiding the right, internal details, showing essential details to the user. Right, if you want to achieve the abstraction, we will go for right, either abstract class or interface. Right. So here, what is the difference? Right, both we cannot create an object for both directly. Right, we have to use the child classes of it, implemented classes. Right, if you want to create the object of a abstract class or interface, directly we cannot create. We have to create by using the implemented classes. Right, we'll see what inheritance supports single inheritance. Right, classes will support only single inheritance. Interface will support multiple inheritance. Right, classes we cannot by using classes we cannot right support multiple inheritance. So Java will not support multiple inheritance by using classes. That means same class cannot extend both A comma B. It cannot. But interfaces we can. Right, one interface right extends another two interfaces, two or more interfaces we can extend. Right, methods. Coming to methods, class abstract class can have abstract and concrete methods. Right, any method it can allow. Abstract classes will allow any type of methods, either abstract methods or concrete methods. But interface will support only abstract methods until the Java 7. Until Java 7, it will allow only abstract methods. After that, from Java 8 onwards, they are allowing default and static methods also. From Java 8 onwards, they are allowing default and static methods also. Coming to constructors, it can have a constructors, but interface cannot have constructors. Right? Interface cannot have constructors. Access modifiers can have any access modifier. Right here in the interface, methods are by default public. By default, public methods all are. Then variables can have instance and static variables. Here only static final variables are allowed. Only static final variables are allowed in interface. Right. Use case used for sharing the code. Interface used for defining the behavior. Defining the behavior. Right. Right. These are some of the difference between right abstract class and interfaces. Then coming to next question, what is the static block in Java? Right. Mostly static block why we'll use right in the memory purpose to save the memory or without creating the because why it how it will save the memory right static whenever you will create a static variable it will create memory for only one time at the time of class loading right for every object it will not create the memory right that's why it will save the memory. Alright, a static block is used to initialize the static variables and perform static operations. It runs once when the class is loaded into memory, even before the constructor or main method is called. Right, a static block is right. We have a static variables, static blocks, static methods. Right, we can have static variables, static blocks, static methods. Right, these are all will be loaded at the time of memory into the while loading the class. Right. So that only right memory will be created only once. So we can save the memory of right. How to create it? If you want to create a static variable, this is the static block. And then right main methods. Right, static method. We can also create our own methods as a static. What is the advantage of it? We no need to create the object directly class name dot. We can create variable static block automatically will execute when the class is loading. And if you want to call the methods directly, methods are variable directly by using the class name, we can call those things. Right, then coming to what is the difference between the list and set. Right, both are interfaces, right? Child interfaces of collection interface. Right, both are right. Both why we will use list and set. If we want to store a group of elements in a single object. Right, if you want to store a group of elements in a single object, we will go for a collection. Right. What is the difference between list and set? List maintains the insertion order. Right. That means whatever order we will insert, same order it will print. If I insert 20, 30, 10, 5, same order it will print. Right. And also it will allow duplicates. We can also store duplicate elements. And access. It will allow to access the index. Right. By using index, we can access the element, we can remove the element, we can update the element, we can delete the element. Right, it will support a index. Right, what are the implemented classes of list interface? Array list, linked list, vector, stack. And these are all the child classes of the list, implemented classes of the list interface. Coming to set there is no guaranteed order. Right, if you store the elements in the set, right, suppose 10, 20, 30. If you display, it will not, there is no guarantee it will display in the same order. Right, there is no guarantee. It will not allow duplicates. Set will not allow duplicates. It will not support index. That means by using index, we cannot retrieve the elements of the set. Right, what are the implemented classes of it? Hash set, tree set, linked hash. These are the some of the implemented classes. Right, this is the difference between list and set. Coming to next question, method overloading or overriding. Right. What is method overloading, overriding? These are the concepts of the polymorphism. Right. Polymorphism means what? Poly means many, morphism means forms, many forms. Right. Object will behave right in a different forms. Right. Same object can behave different forms. Right. We will see what are the what is method of overloading, method of overloading. Right, method of overloading, right, same method name, but different arguments. Right, method of overloading means what? Method name will be same, but arguments will be different. There are three conditions it should satisfy. Arguments means what? Number of arguments, type of arguments, order of arguments. Should be, suppose if we take a add method, I can add two integer variables, two arguments into int. I can take next one if I want to create with the same method name add. I have to either increment the number of arguments like three arguments. Suppose already two argument is there, we can change to three argument or type of argument. I can add a instead of int float or double, right? We can use it. or order of arguments. Suppose if I have a int double, one method is with add int double. I can have a double and int. I can change the order. Right, method name will be same, but arguments will be different. All right, then in inheritance, it's not required. In polymorphism, compile time polymorphism, we will call it as a compile time polymorphism. Right, return type can be different. Right, it is not required to right, return same, can be different. Access modifier can be any. But here, method overriding coming to method name will be same, but same parameters in the subclass. Method overriding will come into picture when we have a parent and a child. Right, parent and a child. Suppose if we have a one click method in the parent class, we can override with the same name, same arguments, but a body will be changed. Right, body will be changed. Here require inheritance. Right, method overloading not required, but method override requires inheritance. It is called as runtime polymorphism also. Right, method overriding also call it as a runtime polymorphism, dynamic polymorphism. Right, must have return type can be must have same or covariant. Must have a same. Suppose parent class is return type is suppose integer. Right, I can return integer or covariant types. Covariant means subclass also we can return. If a parent class is the returning the super class returning super parent class, child class method can return either parent class return type or child class return type. Covariant. Right, access modifier in method overloading can be any, but method overriding cannot reduce the visibility. Suppose method overriding parent class access modifier is public. I cannot override with private default product. Right, it must be a public. Suppose parent class is as a protected. I can override with protected or public. Right, I can increase the scope, but I cannot decrease the access modifier. I can increase the scope of it, but I cannot decrease it. Suppose if we take an example, add method overloading means method name will be same, arguments will be different, but a return type can be anything. But overriding, coming to overriding, right? Suppose here also sound, but body will be changed. Body will be changed. Coming to programming, these are some other theoretical questions. Coming to programming questions. All right, we'll quickly go into it. Right, what is the how to swap a two numbers? Right, how to swap two numbers? Right. One thing is some interview questions almost they will ask without using the third argument. Right. They will ask don't take the third variable. With suppose if you have a and B, if you take a third argument, it is very simple. I can store it in a temp and then store it a B value in the A, right? Temp value again in the B. We can easily swap it. Right. But interviews they will ask most of the time without taking the right. Yeah. Either we can use plus and minus or multiplication, division. Right. We can use multiple approaches are there. Here we can use the plus and minus. First we can take the sum of A plus B. A plus B means A 10, B 30, 20, 30. A is 30. Now what we will do? Now B equal to A minus B. Previously A is what 30. 30 minus B. B what 20. Then assign to B. What will happen? 10. Now B becomes 10. Now again A minus B. Again A minus B. Assign it to A. It will become 20. Right? Simple. We have to remember this order. Just A plus B assigned to A. Then A minus B assigned to B. Again A minus B assigned to A. Then without using the third variable, we can swap it. A and B values. Right. Next one is the Fibonacci series. Right. Fibonacci series means everyone knows it. Right. Fibonacci series means what? 0, 1. Then I have to add previous two numbers to get the next number. 0 plus 1, 1. Then again previous two numbers. I want to add 1 plus 1, 2. Again I have to add previous two numbers. 1 plus 2, 3. Again 5. Right. 5. Then again two numbers. Right. 8. Like this. First we have to take the 0 and 1. Then we add it. 0 plus 1, 1. Again previous two numbers. Again previous two numbers. If you want to get the next number, we have to add the previous two numbers. That is the Fibonacci series. Right. Suppose if we take, I want to print 10, 10 Fibonacci series. Right. Then first we will take the A as a 0. First two Fibonacci series as A 0 B1. Right. First print the A P. Then next from I equal to 2 onwards, I less than until 10. I plus plus. Right. Next number, how we will get A plus B. Right. If you sum the A plus B, we will get the next number plus. Then assign B to A, next to B. That's it. Right. We have to assign B value to the A and the next value to B. Right. Again, loop it and sum it. Print it. Again, assign B to A, next to B. Right. Simple thing. We have to remember this one. Previous two numbers, if we add, third number we will get. Right. That is the Fibonacci series. One more. Right. This is also a mostly asked question. How you will reverse an integer? How you will reverse an integer number? Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4 means I want a output 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. If you convert to string, it is very simple. Right. If you convert to integer string, it is very simple. But in interview, they will ask without using any predefined functions, predefined methods. So what we have to do, we have to get the last number. Right. Every time what we have to get the last number, store it. Again, last number, add it. How to get it the last number? Right here. If you percentile number percentile 10. Number percentile 10. What it will do? It will get the last digit. Right. First it will get the until y. Suppose if you take number 1, 2, 3, 4, while until loop it until number is not equal to 0. Right. Until this becomes not equal to 0. Right. Loop it. Once it becomes 0, right, print it. That is reverse. Right. Now what we have to do? First we have to n percentile 10. It will get the digit. First we will get the 4. Right. First, what is the number 1, 2, 3, 4? If you percentile 10, we will get the 4. Then we have a reversal number. Right. Reversal equal to reverse into test plus a digit. Reverse into 10 plus digit. Right. First, what we will get? Reverse is what? 0. 0 into 10, 0. 0 plus 4. Right. Digit is 4. 0 plus 4, 4. Right. First, we will get the 4. Reverse will become 4. Then divide the number into divided by 10. Then the number becomes 1, 2, 3. Number becomes 1, 2, 3. Again loop it. Right? Again loop it. Number 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 percentile 10. 3. 3 becomes. Right. Previously, what is the reversal number? 4. 4 into 10, 40. 40 plus 3. 43. Right. Again divide it. It will become 1, 2. Right. Again 43 into 10. Right. 430. 430 plus 2. 432. Right. Like this, it will reverse. Right. Simple logic. Then coming to TestNG questions. Right. What is the include and exclude in TestNG? Right. What is the include and exclude in the TestNG? Right. In TestNG, we will use include and exclude in the TestNG.xml file to control the which test methods or classes should be executed or skipped. What is the syntax of it? Suppose I have a 5 test cases. I want to execute only one test case. Then what we will do? Suppose this is the TestNG file, right? test name classes, then class methods. Here we will give the include. Which method? Include means only that test method will execute. Exclude means what? It will not execute. Suppose I have a 5 test cases. I want to skip. I don't want to execute one test case. Then exclude. Remaining 4 it will execute. But if you want to include it, won't include means only it will execute this one. Right? It will execute only this test case. Right. If you want to include out of 5 test cases, I want to run 2 test cases, then include. We can have multiple includes also. Suppose sometimes 10 test cases are there. I don't want to execute out of 10 2 test cases. We can have a 2 exclude tags. Right. 2 exclude tags. We can give the name of the test methods. Right. Include and excludes are used to control the execution of the text cases. Either we want to execute or we want to skip the test cases. Right, next one, difference between soft asset and hard assets. Soft and hard assets. Right, why will you use soft and hard asset? What is the soft asset? Right, in TestNG, if you use the soft asset, suppose I have inserted, right, one scenario, if you take the real time scenario, right, I have created one user, it got saved in the database. Now I want to validate whatever values UI I have provided, same values are inserted in the DB or not. I want to validate. In that case, we will go for a soft asset. That means I can assign first name, last name, email, phone number, address, all I will validate. And then I will print which are not stored correctly. Right. Then we will go for hard soft assets. In that case, if you use hard assertion, what will happen? Suppose first name itself is a failed. Hard assertion means what? Whenever right hard assertion is break, it will break the test case. It will not continue further. Right. Whenever we will use the hard assertion, suppose of first name, last name, I have hard assertions. First name itself is failed. Then it will not validate remaining. Right. But my scenario is I want to validate all, then print the which are not properly. There is a mismatch between the UI values and DB value. Right. In that case, we will go for soft assertion. Soft assertion means what? It will validate all. It will print whichever not stored properly. Right. It will not break the test case. If soft assertion is failed, first name itself is failed, but still it will validate second name, last name, email, all. But not hard assertion is not like that. Whenever hard assertion is failed, it will break the test case there itself. It will not continue further. Right? How to create the soft asset? We have to create the soft asset class. There is a class soft asset in the TestNG we can create, and then our soft asset object dot asset equal asset to. Then we have to call at the final asset dot. Right? This is mandatory. If you forget it, it will not validate. You have to call finally asset all. Then only it will validate all. Hard assertion means how to do the hard asset to dot asset equal. Right? We have a asset class. There is a static methods. Right? Asset to true. Right? Asset to false. Right? Asset equals. These are all hard assertions. Whenever hard assertion is failed, it will not continue further. Right? That is the difference between soft and hard assertion. Then next question is explain TestNG annotations and their sequence. Right. What are the TestNG annotations we have before suit? Right. There are multiple, we know. But what is the order of execution? First executes before suit, then before test, then before class, before method, then test. Then after method, after class, after test, after suit. In the reverse order. Right. We have to remember this. Before suit, before test, before class, before method, test. Then reverse order. This is the order of the execution. Right. Then one more question is what? How to repeat? There is one more question. How to, if I want to execute the same test case multiple times, I want to execute the same test case repeated. How we will execute? There is a in the test annotation we have a attribute called invocation count. If I give 3 times, that means this test case will execute 3 times. Suppose if you want to do some performance testing, right? We can do it. Suppose if you want to execute 100 times this test case, right, how the application is behaving, then we can use that invocation count. Then coming to next framework related questions, right, what is the Maven build life cycle? Sometimes they will ask, right, can you explain the Maven build life cycle? Right, Maven is a build automation tool used primarily for Java projects. It uses a build cycle like life cycle consists of there are three build life cycles mainly. One is the default, one is the clean site. Right, default, clean site. There are three life cycles. Mostly we can explain default cycle. Right, a default cycle. What is the default cycle? Right, it will we can tell first it will validate. Right, whenever you will do. Suppose this is the example MVN clean install. Right, how it will execute. Right, first it will execute the validate. It will validate the project structure and the necessary information whether correct project structure, Maven project is correctly right there or not. Then compile. It will compile the source code of it. Then test. It will run the unit test cases so using TestNG or JUnit or TestNG. Then package. It will package the our code into jar or WAV file. Then verify, runs, checks, ensure that package is valid, meets the quality criteria. Then install. It will install the package into local Maven repository for the use of other projects. Right. Mostly in testing project, we will do up to here test. Sometimes if you want to use framework level, we will do install also. If you use the install, right, if you use the install, it will execute all validate, compile, test. Suppose if you do MVN clean install, up to it will execute install, validate, compile, test, package, verify, install. Right, deploy mostly we will use for suppose if you want to deploy our jar file, right? Suppose you are creating the jar file, you want to deploy to remote repository, then we will use the deploy. Right, these are the right. We can remember this order: validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, deploy. If you use a test only, up to it, it will execute only validate, compile, test. Right, if you use the MVN test, then it will execute only these three. If you use install, all these things right, this will execute. If you use the deploy, all will execute. Right, then clean and install mostly right. These are also the two more life cycles. Right, mostly this is enough. This is enough for Maven life cycle means we can explain these things. Right, validate, compile, test, package, verify, install. Then what are the right? Can you explain? Sometimes they will ask, can you explain about your framework? What are the different components available in the framework? Right? They will ask what is the structure of it. Right? Then we can use right. I have designed as a we can explain like this. I have designed a hybrid framework by combining data-driven and page object model, and I have used the TestNG as a unit testing framework. TestNG as the and then what is the technical right stack? What are the technology stack we have used? Right, Java, Selenium, WebDriver, TestNG, Maven, External Report, Jenkins, Git. And what is the framework architecture? Right, explain the project structure and key layers of it. We can explain, right? We have a base class, right? Like folder structure, we can explain. Suppose SRC main Java, SRC test Java. Inside SRC main Java, what we will maintain? Framework related code, right? Excel reading, right? Base class, base page, right? Utility classes, Excel util, JSON util, property util, right? Those things, report util, right? Those are all we will maintain in the framework level. SRC test Java means we will use page classes, test classes, right? We will have a pages and test cases. And then SRC test resources. In the resources, what we will maintain Excel files, JSON files, property files, right? Mostly those are the test engine suite files, test engine suite files. right? Those things we will maintain. Right, we can explain what if we used, we have used the design patterns, right? We have used, we can tell what are the design patterns and best practices we have used. If we have right, a design patterns like singleton design pattern, builder design pattern, or right, fake design pattern, different, whatever we have used, we can explain. Right, mostly in testing point of view, we will use either singleton design pattern or right, builder design pattern. Right, RPage object model. That is also one of the design pattern. We can test those. And CI/CD integration. Right, we have right CI/CD integration Jenkins. Right, how we have configured. If they right, just we will tell high level. That's it. If they will ask any questions, we will go into depth. Right, initially no need to go into depth. Just explain. We have a CI/CD integration. Right, we are executing from Jenkins. We are integrated with the Git, right? It will automatically execute to Jenkins from the Jenkins. Right, a report and logs. What type of reports? Extent reports or log4j? We have used log4j. Right, then key feature we can explain cross-browser testing if we have parallel execution, retry mechanism, or API testing if we have. Right, then you can explain those things. If we have any challenges, right? If we face right, how you handled flaky test cases. So suppose right, sometimes what will happen whenever we will execute the test cases, most of the time test cases are failed due to application slowness, right, or network issues. So how you will resolve those issues, right? Those things, what are the challenges we can face, we can explain those things, right? Just explain the high level, right? Don't go in depth. If they will ask specifically, then only we will go for in depth, right? Okay. Then coming to CI/CD, right? Sometimes they will ask how you configured a Jenkins. Do you know how to set up the Jenkins? Right? Just we can explain like this. Just I will tell you high level, not in depth. Just we can download the WAR file, right? Jenkins.war file, and we can start the Jenkins.war file, right, in the command prompt, right? Java-jar. If we give Java-jar, it will start the Jenkins. Then it will ask initially password. Password will be here. It will show in the command prompt also, right? This path. We can copy password from this location and we can paste it. Then we have to, after installation done, it will ask for necessary plugins to install. Right? We can install the what are the plugins we required. Right? Like Maven plugin, Selenium, these plugins, HTML plugin, Git plugin. These are all. Then we have to install Git on the Jenkins machine. Right. If you don't have a right, if you are using separate mission, right, we have to use Git on that mission and add Git credentials and configure. We have to install Maven and then configure the JDK Maven. These things we have to configure in the Jenkins. And we can create multiple types of different types of jobs in the Jenkins. Once it is done, setup was done, we can create a either freestyle project or pipeline project or Maven project, right? Multi-module project. And we can create different types of projects. Then we can integrate with the Git and then we can execute our test cases. We can also schedule the from Jenkins, we can also schedule the jobs, right? Automatically it will run. Then we can also do the reports. We can show the reports in the Jenkins after execution. And also we can trigger mails also, right? If you want to send mails to, right, sometimes some people will use the Slack notifications or Teams notifications or mail, right? We can do it from the after execution, right? Our pipeline, if you want a simple, this is the pipeline code. We can also do the pipeline setup also in the Jenkins. Right, either directly go with the Maven job or pipeline job. Right, we can go either of it. Sometimes they will ask what are the different Git commands you have used. Right, mostly what are the Git commands we will use Git clone. Right, to clone the repository. Then to fetch the latest changes, we can use the Git fetch. Right, Git pull to pull the changes. Sometimes they will ask fetch and pull differences. right? Fetch and pull differences. And we can use the git commit, right? We can use the git push command to right, push to the repository. If you want to create the branch, git branch, git checkout to switch to the different branch, right? To stash the changes, stash pop, right? Git stash pop, and then reset the changes. If you want to do reset, right after commit, sometimes you want to, oh, okay, forget to, right? By mistakenly you did commit, you want to reset it, we can reset it, right? We can do, these are the different git, mostly we can say, right? Git clone, we will use regular git clone, git pull, right? Git push, git commit. These are the things we will do. Sometimes they will ask, sometimes a deeper, what is the difference between git fetch and pull? Sometimes git merge and git stash and pop. Right? They will ask git stash, what is git stash pop. Right? Then they will ask git merge. How do you resolve merge conflicts? Right? They will ask. Right? Sometimes they will ask in deeper also. Coming to SQL questions. Uh, what is the primary, foreign key, unique key? What is the right? What are these? Primary key. Right? Primary key is used to, right? Suppose if we have a table, suppose while creating the table employee ID, employee ID. Right? Each table will have a some primary key. Right? Here say employee ID int. If you want to create employee ID as a primary key, we will give as primary key. So that employee ID will become primary key. That is the unique identifier to identify the employee. Right. That means uniquely identify the each record in the table. It cannot contain null values. And only one primary key is allowed for the table. Right. Then foreign key. Foreign key means what? Foreign key, right? A field in one table that refers to primary key in another table. Right. If you want to join two tables, right? Mostly, right, we require primary and foreign key references. Suppose if we take a department, in department we have a, this is the primary key. Each table will have a primary key. See, department have primary key, employee also have primary key. And then if you want to establish a relationship between these two, if we want to establish a relationship between these two, right, then we require a foreign key. That is foreign key on department ID references, department. Right, in employee, we have a department ID. Right, this is the foreign key references departments in the department ID. So that right while retrieving the data joins, right? If you know the about the joins, then it will be useful that, right? If you want to combine two tables, right, we will use that primary and foreign key relationship. Then unique key. What is the unique key? Right, it ensures all the values in a column are different. Suppose you right, sometimes I want to primary key and unique key are different. Right. It ensures unique key, all values are different. Allows one null value, but a primary key will not allow. That is the difference between primary and unique key. Primary key will not allow null, but a unique key will allow one null value. A table can have multiple unique keys. Right. In table, we can have a multiple unique keys also. Right. Just we have to give like this unique while creating the table. Suppose email, I want a unique for each employee. Then we a unique. That means a duplicate I cannot enter. Right. Then one more question. Purpose of the what is the group by? What is the group by? Right. The group by clause groups the rows that have same values in specified columns into the summary rows. Suppose, see, maybe eh, you don't understand here anything. Suppose select department and count of total employee in each department. Right. I want to group like suppose the department ABC contains 100 employees. Department B contains 200 employees. Department C contains 50 employees. I want to group, right? I want to group all the employees and count, right? Then how you will do it? Select a department name, count star as total employee. Total employees as count star means it will print the how many employees are there. Then from employees group by department. Which column we want to group by department column? Group by department. Whatever here selected, right? Same thing we have to use. This group employees, right? This groups employees by department and count how many employees are in each department. Right, like this group by class is used to group the rows same values in a specified columns. Use of the order by. One more is a order by. If you want to order by means very simple. If you want to use the order by, if you want to sort right the rows, right ascending order. Suppose I have a employee ID. I want to sort in ascending order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or descending order 10, 10, 9, 8 like that. Right. Then we can use order by class. Select star from employees, order by salary, ascending or descending. You can give either ascending or descending order, right? Like this. Then come to next manual testing questions. Right, we'll go quickly. It becomes very long video. Right, what is the difference between smoke and sanity testing? Right, smoke to verify critical functionalities of the work. Right, smoke means we will verify critical functionality. Sanity means to verify specific bug fixes or minor changes. Right, scope is broad and shallow. It is narrow and deep. Right, conducted when after new build is deployed. It is after minor fix or change is build. Right, when we will do sanity after a minor fix or any change in the build. Right, we can often automated, often or mostly we will do manual. Right, then what is the spike in agile methodology? Right, a spike is a type of user story used for a research or exploration. Right, sometimes we will get a spike stories. That means research stories. We are not, we don't know what exactly do, right? What it will, how much time it will take, what is the impact of it, right? We exactly we don't know. So that right, we will create a spike stories. That means, so we will investigate on it, right? How much time it will take, what are the changes we required, right? If we do changes, what will impact other modules, right? We will research. Research modules are like a spike modules, spike stories. That is called a spike stories. Can you explain sprint point system? Right, in agile, right? What is the explain about the sprint? The sprint point system is used in agile to estimate the complexity and effect of tasks. Points are typically assigned using Fibonacci series. Right. Some stories, if you have an idea about agile, right? Each story when they will assign, right? We will calculate what is the estimation of it, how much time it will take. Right. Basically, we will use the Fibonacci series 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose 1 means mostly 1 day, 2 means 2 days, 3 means 3 days, 5 means 5 days. Right. Mostly we will give 5 days. Right. Mostly 5. Right. If it is based on the complexity of the story. Right. How much time it will take. Right. Suppose if we take a login page, maybe 2 points, that means 2 days. Suppose if we take a implement cart and payment system, maybe 13 points. That means max points we have given. It will take a more time. Right. Then based on the sprint, sometimes sprint will be 2 weeks only. If we give 13 points, that is not valid. Right. Then we have to divide that stories. Right. Two sprints based on the right. Okay, mostly we will give 5 in the sprint. Then next question is how would you create a test scenarios for the payment failure by debit card on e-commerce site? Right. How do you create a test scenarios for the payment failures when the debit card on an e-commerce site? And we have a different scenarios like insufficient funds, right? When we don't have a funds, we are on the e-commerce site. If we are using debit card, right, what will happen? It will fail. Right, that these are the scenarios we can write it. Incorrect CVV, expire, wrong OTP, payment gateway timeout, invalid card number, and boundary cases, payment retry after failure, multiple failed attempts, session expired during the payment. Rather than the error message display, back button usage, right? Then security things, sensitive data masking, whether it is right. Sometimes we have to validate these things also. We have to see whether sensitive data is masking or not in the logs. Right? PCI compliance, that means doesn't store sensitive data anywhere. Right? These are some of the manual questions. Right? Coming to API questions. Right? What is the difference? Different HTTP response codes. Right? We have 100 series means informational. 200 means success. Right. 300 means redirection. 400 client errors. 500 server errors. Right. Mostly we will have a right. We will not see these things right in real time. Success. We will see 200 okay, 204 created, 204 no content. We will see these three, and these are also we will not see. It will move internally. It will do internally. One API calling another API internally. Then it will happen. Alright, moved permanently, found, not modified. These things. Client errors we will see. Even our bad request 400, unauthorized 401, forbidden 403, not found. The request is not found 404. 500 also we will find right mostly. 500 internal server error, 502 bad gateway, right gateway timeout 504. Right, one more important idempotent. What is the idempotent in the REST API? Right, idempotent means making the same request, one request multiple times. Right, it will not write the same effect on the server. If we are executing same request again and again, it should not affect the server. That is called a idempotent. In other words, outcome remains unchanged no matter how many times the same request is repeated. Right, idempotent means helps to prevent side effects, ensures data consistency. Right, right. Mostly, what are the idempotent? Get is idempotent. Right, fetches the data, repeating it does not change anything. Right, if you get request, same get request, if you execute multiple times, same state, nothing will do. Right, that is the idempotent. Put is also idempotent. Delete also idempotent. Head option, these are all idempotent. Post is the not idempotent because each call can create a new resource or trigger a new action. So post is not idempotent, remaining all are idempotent. Then right, these are some of the examples, just examples of it. Get example, put example, delete, post. Coming to manager now, explain about our project roles and responsibilities. We can explain what are the, suppose if we take a sample example, right, what are the technologies we have used and what are the your roles, right? Just explain your roles and responsibilities, right? What are the challenges you have faced, right? Right, we can say unstable environments are there. How you will, what is, right? What you have done, right? In unstable environments, dynamic web elements are there. Maybe test case, right? Sometimes test case reusability, maintainability, right? Tight deadlines. How you, right? Work, how you, right? Deal with these things, right? How you, what are the challenges you have faced? You can explain in your project whatever you have faced. How do you handle team conflicts? Right? These are the right. They want to test it. Suppose you are going for a team lead position or senior position. All right, they will check right what is how you will right what is your approaches. Well, team has a conflicts. Right, how you will resolve it. Right, first we have to actively listen both the sides. We should not right take immediate action. Right, based on one person. Right, we have to listen both the sides and we have to clearly understand the right issues and we have to resolve it, right? And behavioral questions means HR questions. In HR questions, they will ask, provide details about our academic and work experience, right? Those things they will ask, what is your expected CTC, right? Why you are joining Infosys, how soon you can join, right? These things you have to prepare, right? Suddenly, if they will ask if you tell something differently, right? Right, we must be very careful. Just to prepare for these some of the HR questions also, right? And finally, come to before going to interview, you must be hands-on practice. Framework, definitely you go through the framework and right, practice 1 or 2 times on the paper and remember the flow and CI/CD integration and logical thinking, right? Behavioral questions. At any interview, these are the common things we will get. That we must be before going to interview. Just we can verify, right? What are the questions we can get mostly asked on this company, right? Right. These are the some of the questions and answers, right? If you like my way of teaching and what are the questions I have presented, please like the video, comment on the video. Please share your thoughts also. All right. If you want any right suggestions, please feel to comment on it. Please feel to share to your friends also. Right. Right. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel, enable notification for more interesting.